Hey guys, Anime E here, and just a disclaimer that this channel is for 13 and up, and that there will be swearing in this channel. If you don't like it, there's the unsubscribe button, and you can leave the channel. If you do, let's get into the video. And two things before we start. Fuck you, Kappa, and fuck you, YouTube. Alright? Fuck you both, alright? Just fuck you. That's all I gotta say to you guys, just fuck you. Alright? Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Hey guys, Anime E here, and I know it's been such a long time since I uploaded, but I'm back with What If Deku Had a Half and Half Quirk Part 5. Don't forget to check out the Discord server, link in the description, and on to the What If. Alright, we'll be starting off with Class 1A at the Quirk training camp. Pixie Bob is about to drop the class, and Deku, in a flash, is able to start propelling himself, and is able to anticipate the drop. He's also able to grab Momo and propel her too. Now, Deku decides to fly to the end of the obstacles because he remembers that A, Momo has some torn ligaments in her arm for the USJ, and B, it just wouldn't be very good with their relationship if he just left her to do work, you know. So, Deku, being the kind boyfriend he is, decides to take Momo with them and fly to the end. Now, they get there very early, and they decide to prep dinner for everybody since they're here early. It's the least they can do. So, Deku makes the fires and cooks the food while Momo passes him the ingredients and the tools. Now, by the time the rest of the class arrive, they are all pissed off. Todoroki, Bakugo, Jiro are especially pissed off, though. And all three go for Deku and Momo until they are stopped by a wall of fire. Deku then slowly walks through the fire with carrying three bowls and has a knife in his mouth like Zabuza. And he says, "You're not you when you're hungry," with an evil grin and a demonic look in his eyes that said, "Pull that shit again and you're all dead." Now they stop and eat Deku's food, and immediately they forgive him because his food is just so good. Now, I'm going to skip forward to the next day because nothing really interesting happens until that. So, we go forward like in canon. Tiger asks anyone with a shrink augmenting quirk to fight him. And everyone's a little bit surprised when Deku pops up because all they know is fire manipulation. And maybe a little bit of wind manipulation from the sports festival. Sorry guys, that's the cheer. So, Deku decides to go all out and activates full cow, going into his half Sojo and half human form. However, Deku notices something. He can't move. And instead, a bright white light starts flashing on his chest. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to do this for a while, and it's finally here. Deku is fully evolved into Sojio's full form. He no longer has to do a half-human hybrid bullshit. So yes, that's what's new. And I know there are going to be a lot of comments saying, "What about Necromancer? What about Necromancer?" You guys, that'll come. All right, I got a plan for that. Just trust me on this. So when Deku transforms and the white light disappears, he notices that this transformation is a lot more stable than the half-human and doesn't put as much strain on him. So with this new information, Deku decides to go all out on Tiger and also try to figure out if he has any new abilities. Now, Deku, in a flash, starts rushing forward to Tiger using all four paws and starts clawing at his face and arms. Tiger's able to block most of the scars with his arms, but he does get a few on his face and chest, which causes him to start bleeding. And while Tiger is bleeding out, Deku decides to take this opportunity where he's sort of like weak and struggling. He takes his opportunity, he uses his tail and completely slaps him across the ground, giving Tiger a big burn mark where the tail slapped him at. Deku turns around to where Tiger flew, and starts to prepare a fireball. However, he notices two things. One, his fireball has gotten hotter. It's now changed from yellow to white. And two, he can now control the amount of oxygen in his fire too. So basically, oxygen is very flammable. And so if he can control how much oxygen is in his fire, he can control how big, how small, and how potent his fire is. So he can change it to where even if it's a huge fireball, if it's just going to burn a tree or if it's going to set the entire tree on fire and turn it to ash. Yeah, he goes back to making his fireball and launches it at Tiger, who is now unconscious from the heat and from the force of the fireball hitting him in the stomach. Now, everyone has officially shit themselves. Class 1A is getting PTSD, and Class 1B is making mental notes to stay the fuck away from Deku. Now, the Pussycats ask Deku to never do that shit again and to not use his fire anymore during training camp. We don't need to get sued because somebody died on duty. Now, Deku asks if they can train him tonight to use his water powers. Maybe something happened there. The Pussycats are very reluctant, but say yes, they will help him. That night, they're able to heal most of Tiger's wounds and ask Mandalay to go fight him this time instead, since she's so agile, so she can probably dodge and weave a lot. Anyway, Deku transforms into his Lunala face, or Lunala hybrid. Is it Lunala or Luna? I'm gonna go with Luna for now, but I swear if you're a Pokemon fan, I'm so sorry, but this video is probably about to piss you off from now on. Alright. So, Luna. He transforms into his hybrid, but again is paralyzed until another white light starts glowing from his chest. And, bidding, he is now completely transformed into Luna. Complete full body, and there are, less strain on him. And this form is a lot more stable. Now, Deku notices that he now has the ability to fly, since when he was his half-human hybrid, he didn't really get the wings, he just got the gold plates on the wings. So now he's allowed to fly. And he also notices that his water, he can do two things extra now with it. He can pressurize it to make it more concentrated and potent. And he can also control the temperature of it, so freeze it, melt it. And one last thing, he can also mix other liquids with it, or mix it in with other liquids and be able to control those liquids. Now everyone that sees the Luna transformation is thinking what the fuck is going on because they haven't seen Luna. Alright? Deku can only use Luna at night when the moon is out, so no one's seen it before except for him. However, while all this is happening, Momo, Jiro, Todoroki, Bakugo, and the rest of Class 1A start getting their seats and have popcorn in their hands because they know that Deku is about to kick some ass. Which, I mean, they're not wrong. Anyway, Deku then decides to pay all of his attention to the fight again and take out Mandalay, since she's his only opponent and also the biggest threat. So Deku starts flying using the wings that he got and starts waterbending. Except this time, he's actually creating water from his mouth and is pressurizing it very, very much. So, Mandalay sees that Deku is charging up some sort of attack and thus runs for cover. And she's able to get behind a good amount of forest trees before Deku starts firing the water. And this is Mandalay's logic. I'm behind so many trees that even if he makes his water super concentrated, it shouldn't be able to get through this many trees. She's behind like 5 trees. So, Deku fires his water, and the water is so pressurized that it actually cuts through the fucking wood. Alright. And this is when Mandalay gets the idea, hey, I probably can't run from him, so I need to go in and attack him. Alright. Mandalay goes in and uses Scratch. It's not very effective. Deku used Hydro Beam. It is very effective. Mandalay is out cold, and Deku turns to Tiger, and Tiger fucking surrenders immediately. He wants none of that. And after Tiger surrendered, Deku deactivates full Cal and returns to a human state. Now, Jiro, Momo, and Todoroki are laughing their asses off, but also have their mouths just... So, Class 1A and Class 1B, the rest of them, have officially shit themselves, again, and all made mental notes to leave Deku alone. Like, no more bullying. Even Bakugo decides, maybe bullying that nerd is probably gonna get me killed just like in the beginning. So with that training done, Deku goes to help the teachers heal faster. And no, he does not have healing powers, but I'm about to explain how he can help them heal faster. Well, one, by using fire powers, he's able to apply a small amount of heat, kind of like a heating pad. You know, when something gets sore, healing pad works. But they're not sore, they actually have cuts and bruises, so that isn't going to work here. So what he does start doing is he leaves the wounds open. And what he does is he starts using his own water and bending it into their blood. And then using his ability to shape water, starts to make ice and just sort of rub it all over the wound to get it to close up fast and stop bleeding. Now, while his water is inside of their inside of their veins, he starts messing around with their internal organs. And by that, he starts taking control by forcing his water to blend in with the blood, the plasma, all the other bodily fluids, and be able to shape it to his will. So what he does is he starts poking and prodding some of the organs, specifically the heart, the spleen, and the bone marrow. And he starts poking these. He does the spleen so the spleen can release platelets and stop the bleeding faster. He does the bone marrow to speed up the cellular division process and also to release more platelets and red blood cells and white blood cells. And he's doing the spleen, and he's doing the heart to get the heart to pump more blood faster. Since he's making more blood, it needs to pump more blood. However, of course, this isn't instant healing, but right now he can heal anywhere from 20% to 50% faster using this method. Although with Recovery Girl, if they both work together, they can instantly heal anything. Well, I wouldn't say anything. Anyway, moving forward to the villain attack, Deku finds Koda by using Lunala and the huge sensory buff that he gets from the moon, and is able to locate Muscular. Now, Deku, without saying anything, grabs Koda, flies off nearby with him, settles him down safely, and Deku rushes back to the fight, ready to kill. Now, Muscular puts his arms up to block Deku, and half of his muscle mass and muscle ligaments that he's able to control get sliced in half from Deku's pressurized water. Now, Muscular is a little scared, but before anything else can happen, Deku flies up very high. Well, he was already very high, and he just sort of spikes back down to the earth, using his most aerodynamic stance. Sharpens his gold plates, because remember, he can make them blunt to stop attacks or sharp to attack. He sharpens them, and in the blink of an eye, decapitates Muscular. Now, with that done, Deku rushes to the Pussycats. Then the Pussycats are fighting Spinner and Magni. Yeah, that's his name, Magni. Ooh. So, what was I at? Oh yeah, Deku rushes to the Pussycats, and they are fighting Spinner and Magni. And Deku, still transformed, opens his mouth and completely burns Magni to a crisp, like into ashes. Now, Deku is able to do this because earlier today he transformed into Solgio and just sort of stayed in the sun. Kind of took a nap there for about 5 to 6 hours. So he has a lot of backup power now. Now, with these full body transformations comes the crossover. He's now able to cross over his sun and moon powers. But in order to do that, he has to do a transformation during the time he wants and just absorb. No using it. If he uses it, it's gonna not work. So let's say he wants sun powers at night. He'll have to transform into Solgio and just stay in the sun. No using powers, just stay in the sun, and then transform back into a human. That way, his firepower will still be built up in his body, so that even when he transforms into Lunala, he will still be able to release that power and use it. Oof, that was sort of a voice crack. So anyway, Magni gets burned up to a crisp. Spinner sees Magni get destroyed, and he's like, shit, that makes our numbers even less. Now, Deku doesn't know what the League's plan is in this what if because, one, he killed Muscular too quickly, and two, Spinner didn't actually say it out loud. He said it in his head. So Deku has absolutely no idea what they're doing here. Though he guessed that it's for All Might, but All Might's nowhere nearby. So he thinks that, okay, they just messed up. Now, since it will never be explained in this what if what their true purpose is, I'm going to explain it right now. The true purpose of them coming right here to the Quirk training camp is because they want Deku. They are here to kidnap Deku for two reasons. The main one being All For One himself ushered out an order to kidnap Deku and bring him back alive and healthy. So no breaking bones, no bleeding out. Alright? You can bring him unconscious, but he has to be alive and healthy. And two, his power and jaded attitude he showed during the sports festival. The way he just completely burned Shinzo without a care in the world. The way that he made Todoroki look like a toddler versus John Cena. Alright? And the way he just completely made Bakugo look like an idiot. So, yeah, they are really interested in that power and jaded attitude. Especially since he showed almost no emotions except for just pure evil. So, yeah. So, Deku turns to Spinner, ready to decapitate him. And Spinner tries to put up his sword and block. And Deku rushes forward as fast as he can with his sharp gold plates to decapitate him. And he ends up decapitating the fucking sword. Now, Spinner, now unarmed, knows he's fucking dead. And Deku takes this opportunity, rushes over, slices, and just keeps slicing Spinner until he is cubes of meat and bones on the ground. Now, the pussycats are shivering right now and don't say a damn thing. But before Deku runs away, he tells them where to find Koda and to get Koda to a safe place. Anyway, Deku starts to sense some sort of power surge, and he rushes to the nearest enemy. This is where he finds Moonfish with Shoto, Bakugo, and Tokoyami. Now Deku, without blinking an eye, still transformed into Lunala, flies up and blocks Moonfish's teeth attack with his blunt gold plates. Now, Deku is charging up an attack while still blocking Moonfish's teeth. And then he rushes towards with sharp gold plates to start to chop off the teeth of going. And right before he gets within 6 feet, Deku spits. But it's not regular spit. It's spit in the shape of something. A bullet. And just as this bullet leaves his mouth, he yells, "Arctic water, human implosion." Okay, so this is a new attack that I've been waiting to use for a while. So here's how the attack goes. Deku charges up his water and makes it extremely pressurized. He then shapes it into a little water bullet where he can either fire out of his hand or his mouth. When he fires out of his mouth, the water again is very pressurized, so the bullet completely pierces through the target, no matter what the durability is. Now, once it gets about midway in, oh, by the way, it fires in the center of the body. So once it gets about midway through the body, what happens is most of it breaks off of the bullet and just leaves the water in the stomach, while the rest of the bullet charges out the other side. Now, once the leftover water is in the body, which now has a little puddle of Deku's own water from the bullet, the water is then frozen, causing all liquid in the body to freeze, because remember, all it needs is a drop of his water into something else and he can now control it, because of the full body Luna phase. So now that all the liquids in the body is frozen, the person pretty much dies almost immediately. And if they don't die immediately, they have to feel the next phase. Where the next phase is, he fires out spikes from this core. From where the bullet shot, there's a little ice core. And what he does is he's able to bend the ice and fires out shards from every angle and every square inch. So the person looks like they just got, like they ate one of those spiky balls things. Now, there's still, now in that little ice core I told you about, after it gets spikes, what Deku does is he cracks the ice core, which still has most of the water from the bullet in it. And what he does with that water is that he makes it implode. Basically, just that little puddle of water, he forces it to expand and expand and expand and just until the person is nothing but organs and bones flying across the place. Now, this attack causes so much strain and so much energy because think about what Deku has to do in such a little time. He has to charge up a huge pressurized amount of water, shoot it through a person's center, and then midway before it reaches the other side, he has to break it off a good chunk of it, let the other part pass through, and then freeze that chunk, make spikes, then crack that ice, which again, his powers are water bending, not ice bending. So he can bend ice, it's just a lot harder. Just like Deku can bend lava, but there's two things about it. One, it can't come from him because he can't make lava. Two, it's extremely hard for him to do it. Just imagine a 4-year-old trying to pick up a table. It's going to be extremely hard. He can. It's just going to be extremely hard. Well, anyway, back to the thing. But yeah, this attack uses so much strain and so much energy that in order to not feel any backlash or pass out immediately, Deku has to use this during a full moon, one of his most powerful phases, and the complete Lunala body transformation, which is why I've been saving it until now. Now, of course, after this attack, Moonfish dies instantly, and Deku starts to sense. After Moonfish dies, Deku still senses a huge amount of energy and a very powerful aura coming from the center of the forest. Leaving his friends behind, he rushes all the way there. Well, basically, he flies up and just sort of spikes to the earth. Kind of like an Elytra in Minecraft. But yeah. So he rushes over, and he gets out of Luna form and starts using human form to save up his energy. Because he doesn't have much left. That bullet took a lot. That Arctic water attack, yeah, that took a lot of stamina from him. Now, he runs over and sees Mr. Compress with a marble in each hand and a marble on his tongue. Now, Mr. Compress sees Deku and tells him that if he moves another step, he will release the victims from the marbles. Now, Deku is confused because he thinks, wait, isn't that what I would want to happen? So he takes another step forward. In fact, he actually tries to rush forward. And Mr. Compress instantly releases the victims, and Deku's heart stops a little bit. However, really doesn't. He's just more of a shock thing. Deku sees Momo and Inko with black and red eyes and a strange man with a black life support mask and a black suit behind them. Deku now sort of having a mental-ish breakdown, but not really. He's more analyzing the situation. But before he can finish analyzing it, the man behind him snaps both of his fingers, and both women get into fighting position. Now, Deku then realizes what's happening, and his face turns cold. Evil. A little bit dead inside, like he's just evil. Now, Deku looks at the corrupted versions of the only people he cares about, because remember, he only cares about his girlfriend and his mom. All Might is more of a, he's okay, and I don't really care for him. So, yeah. So, with an emotionless look on his face, he points both of his fingers at them and says, "Die, family," shooting them both in the chest with a pressurized water bullet. The masked man behind him, which I'm sure you all know who this is, says, "Wow, I didn't think you'd actually kill them. They're even more precious than I originally thought." Now, Deku asks the man who he is and what he wants. And the man responds, "My name is All For One. I'm sure you've heard of me from All Might. And what I want is you, young Midoriya." I want you to join me. Also, I can sense what you did, Midoriya. Deku starts to sweat, because Deku didn't actually kill Momo and Ingo. What he did was aim for their centers with the water bullet and miss any vitals. And then when his water was in them, oh god, that sounds. Oh god. Okay, when his water was in their body, that sound. Okay, you know what? When the water from the bullet started to spread in their body, he started to force them to sweat, throw up, basically all the things that help you get a cold out of you. Yeah, he basically was able to force their organs to do that. And this caused the substance that All For One was using to control them to get out of their bodies. Now I know what you're thinking, that wouldn't have happened. All For One would have used a quirk. No, he wouldn't have. I did the research. All For One has never had a mind manipulation quirk. And if he did, he gave it to somebody else according to the wiki. Alright, I'm going off on the wiki's word. Yeah, no, nothing like this. No sort of. The closest he has to a mind manipulation quirk is Ragdoll's search quirk, which allows him to find their location and weak points up to 100 people at a time. And that's how he was able to grab Inko and Momo. Alright then. Afterwards, after he forces them to sweat and throw up and stuff, he forces his water into their circulatory system and forces the heart and the bone marrow to speed up the healing process, creating more cells, pumping the blood faster, the usual. Now, All For One, witnessing this, turns around and says, very clever. Very clever indeed. Deku then asks, what do you want with me? How is this benefiting you? And what's in it for me? Now, All For One smiles and says, I'm not going to lie to you. I want one for all, and in return, I'll give you more power than you could ever imagine. Now, Deku starts to ponder this decision, because on one hand, he is giving away one for all, the quirk that All Might trusted him with, but at the same time, he may get a quirk more power than he could ever imagine. Now, Deku, with this in mind, decides, yeah, more power? I would definitely take that. Although he tells All For One, I'll take up on your deal. However, there's a few limitations. All For One asks, what limitations? And Deku says, you cannot force me to kill or harm anybody in any way. All For One ponders this. Okay, so I can't use them for evil, or at least not directly harming people. But then again, it's one for all, so All For One says deal. And Deku, with that, readies up and says, alright, so where's this ultimate power at? All For One smiles, turns around and opens a portal. He got the portal quirk from Kurogiri. And with that, Deku jumps through, and All For One jumps through behind him. Now I know what you're wondering, why isn't anyone screaming, help, stop him? Well, first, this is at the center of the forest, nobody's around, the pussycats are far away, Deku rushed away from his friends so they aren't catching up, and Momo and Inko are like half unconscious. They don't know what's going on. All they can think is, because they've just been forced to throw up, sweat, and then their bodies being forced to work harder. It's not good for them. So, that's the explanation. And with that, guys, I'm going to end off part 5 to what if Deku had a half and half quirk. I know. That's it. Alright, guys. I know it's been a long time since I uploaded. I promise you there's a good reason. If you want to hear it, you can stay. If you don't, that'll be all for this video. Part 6 will be out sometime in the future. I can't tell you exactly when. For those of you that want to know the explanation, it's basically just been a combination of school, and shitty computer software. Guys, literally today, earlier today, you guys are probably not getting this till like 6, 7. But earlier today at 2 o'clock, I finished this video and was uploading it to my video editing software, finished it up, and started to export it to YouTube. And for some reason, the file during the uploading corrupted, and I lost everything. The video, the thumbnail, the audio. I even lost the script. The only reason I was able to get the script back was because I had it uploaded to a cloud. And I had to go onto another device, download it from there. And this has been happening a lot. Either the audio will corrupt, the script will corrupt. So it's just been a hassle. And then there was like a whole week where I wasn't even allowed to touch my stuff, my computer and stuff. So I couldn't record audio. It's been chaos, guys. All right. I know this sounds generic, like, oh guys, I swear I didn't mean to upload. Please don't leave. But this one's genuine. I'm not saying those are genuine. I'm just saying. You gotta remember, I'm still living with my parents, so whatever they say, go. And sometimes I'm not allowed to record audio. Boom. Well, anyway, with that done, oh yeah, I know some of you have been asking what's happening to the collab between me and Kiddo P/Arthur. It's temporarily been stopped. Now, I'm not gonna say anything because that's Arthur's business, and it's not my duty to let you guys know. So if you want to know, then you have to ask him. All right, there's always a link in the description to his channel. But I'm not going to say anything. That's his business, and it's not my job to put out his business. If he wants to tell you guys, he'll tell you. If he doesn't, then I'll just let you know that it's going to be temporarily stopped for a little bit. How long? I don't know. All right. Anyway, with that, that'll be the end of part 5. Sorry I didn't upload. Check out Arthur and the Discord server, link in the description. And with that, Anime E signing off. Bye.